Hey ladies, this week we'll be having a chat around one of the most frequently asked questions I get in my DM. Also a very frequently asked questions when I speak around workplace matters. Now this is a question of how do I survive a toxic workplace culture? Just before we talk about survival, it's important to identify what is defined as a toxic workplace culture. First things first, as I often say, all jobs have some level of stress. Very important to realize that. However, if going to work makes you anxious, tired, or physically ill, then that is more than general workplace stress. A toxic place work culture, therefore, can be defined as any atmosphere, the people or the combination of those that cause serious disruptions in your life. And the kind of disruptions you get are disruptions to your self-esteem and even disruptions to your physical health. I think I've told a story before of a friend of mine who was working in such a toxic culture and she had her hair literally falling out. Now, she had done all sorts of tests and the doctor couldn't find, what was wrong with her. And boom, he realized, someday, asking further questions, that she was probably in a toxic environment. Now, just before you go label every environment as toxic, here is how, you can know that an environment is toxic. One, if an environment, a workplace environment, obviously celebrates cliques and celebrates gossip, there's a high rumor culture. Sometimes even when decisions come through, you first hear them very loudly. As a rumor, then you know that is a toxic workplace culture. If there is, a very blamey rather than correctional culture, so something happens and everyone is panicked dead because they're thinking, my goodness, someone's head is going to roll. I think it's important to look out because that blamey culture often always leads to a lot of fear, which invariably becomes toxic. If there's negative communication or a complete lack of communication where you're finding things in the room or meal, or no one talks to you and you find things, find out things in the corridor. Another sign that you're in a toxic workplace culture, if there's narcissistic leadership, the leadership is always right. You always have to agree with them, even when they are glaringly wrong. When there's also frequent employee burnout, I worked in a company once, many years ago, and, sometimes in a team, we'll have 5 people who are down, physically ill, and it didn't take me long to realize what it was that we were dealing with. Now, these are the basic ways in which you can identify toxic workplace culture. And I'd like to talk to you about how you can survive in a toxic workplace culture. The first thing I think you need to do is to build a network of trusted employees. Being able to, commiserate, understand each other if you have a nice, tight group. Being able to understand each other's frustration can help you make it through difficult situations. Having said that, be careful what you share, because what tends to happen in workplace culture is there's a lot of trading going on. People can trade any information for something, any information to get in the good books. Very important that you stay aware of that. Now, revisit your goals. When you joined the organization, what was your goal? Did you plan to be there for 3 years? So that you could learn a skill you didn't know? Were you there because, you like the remuneration and you're trying to use it to get onto the next, your foot on the next ladder? What is your goal, or what was your goal? The reason I'm saying so is revisit it so you can stay focused on that goal. Guys, regardless of how toxic the environment is, try very hard to be pleasant to everyone, including the toxic people. Keep looking for ways to add value, and remember that you are representing yourself and referrals can come from anywhere. I say this to people that regardless of how tough the environment is, remember you're representing yourself, and really you want them to say, hey, Jane is a great worker, or, just be mindful of that. Find a life outside work. What are you interested in doing? What are you interested in doing? This would help you find more meaning for life and also help you achieve some balance. Try very hard not to compartmentalize or internalize the negative feedback that you get at work, because the premise for that negative feedback sometimes is already, people who are also dealing with issues being in a toxic environment. Find a therapist. Ladies, you must stop thinking you are literally mentally unwell or attaching some bias to finding a therapist. Finding a therapist would help you heal, help you turn the corner, and also, most importantly, help you recover. Find a networking group, a strong networking group of people with the same values. Now, I didn't want to leave you, if you're dealing with issues like this. Have you been bruised at the workplace? I'd like to just use this opportunity to introduce a course we're having at the Lighthouse Network called I Mend. The purpose of I Mend is to help you compartmentalize, provide you with tools to reinforce your resilience. It helps you remember that work is what you do. It is not all of who you are. It helps provide you with tools, with practical tools and strategies, to cope with the frequently experienced conditions, whether it be stress-related or, it's a toxic work environment. If you'd like to attend this for a fee, tiny weeny fee, please email ifedayo at thelighthousenetwork.org. Please email ifedayo at thelighthousenetwork.org and have a great week. Cheers.